So for months, you guys have been asking me to make a tutorial on how I edit my Instagram photos. Over the past few weeks, I've been going through hundreds of photos that I've taken throughout the past year, compiling them into my very own Ben Keely's 2017 Travel Lightroom preset pack, allowing you guys to edit your photos from basic to mwah in just one click. Yo, what's up guys? My name is Ben Keely and every single day I get at least one of you guys sending me an Instagram DM asking me how I edit my Instagram photos. Today I'm going to be talking about Lightroom presets. Now when we talk about Lightroom presets, one name comes to mind. Peter Mckinnon. Peter is an amazing creator who has exploded the world of Lightroom presets. And he has also posted some very informative tutorials, so I highly recommend you guys go check him out. He's a great creator and he has pioneered the world of Lightroom presets. I'll leave a link to his channel down below. So for months and months, I used to despise Lightroom presets. I'd always see these famous Instagrammers plug them all over their social media saying, go buy my presets, money, 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 money. That was until I created my own. How presets work is they save a certain combination of changes that you make to a photo within Lightroom, allowing you to go edit a new photo with the same settings. Presets allow you to speed up your workflow hundreds of times, and they also allow you to achieve a certain look or theme to your photos, like when you see some of your favorite Instagrammers and their entire feed is like greens and blacks or blues and oranges. They would all be using presets to achieve that synchronized look. So when I created my own presets, I just found it opened up a whole new world for photo editing. I'm not the best photographer. I was able to take my very average, mediocre photos and get them to a point where they look so professional just in 2 seconds. So that is why I created this preset pack. I wanted you guys who may not be the best photographers in the world or may not have the best camera equipment in the world to be able to produce photos of a high standard and just achieve that Instagram look that you all clicked on this video for. Now I'm going to take you into Lightroom and I'm going to show you guys how I edit my photos, and I'm also going to edit some of yours. Okay, so the first thing you're going to notice when you download these presets is you're going to get the zip file. You want to double click on that, which is then going to reveal this folder, Ben Keely's 2017 Travel Presets. Open up that folder, open up presets, and there you have all of your presets. Once you've got that done, you want to go ahead and open up Lightroom. Okay, so you want to scroll to the top left corner, click on Lightroom, and click on Preferences. That is going to open up this page where you want to go to the second tab called Presets, Show Lightroom Presets folder, Lightroom, and Develop Presets. That's going to open up this page where you want to drag and drop the folder you just downloaded into there. I'm not going to do that because I've already got it there, as you can see. Then what you want to go do is you want to go restart Lightroom. The presets won't show up unless you restart Lightroom, so you have to do that for these to work. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do once you open up Lightroom again is click on the Presets tab, where you should notice Ben Keely's 2017 Travel Presets is there. And when you open that, you're going to see all 11 of the presets that you just downloaded. How Lightroom works is it's very similar to editing any other photo on a different app or Instagram editor or VSCO, whatever you're editing on. It's very similar, just a little more advanced. So when you bring a photo up in the Develops tab, you'll notice all of these different pages of weird and wonderful things that look so confusing at first. But when you actually break it down, they are very simple. You've got your highlights, which as you can see, if I adjust, it brings up the highlights and brings them down. Shadows, which again, same thing. Usually what you do with the photo is you'd go through every single one of these settings individually, and that's where the presets come in. The presets are a combination of different values and settings all put together to give a photo a certain look. So usually what I do is I drop the highlights, bring up the shadows, drop the whites, bring up the blacks. Sorry, whites didn't drop. I put the clarity up a little bit. I'd usually leave the vibrance and saturation until the very end. I'd come down here to the tone curve, I'd leave 3 points down here, and I'd bring up the blacks just to give a little bit of fade, drop the shadows, and bring up the highlights. So as you can see, just by doing that, the look that it's given the photo, it's sort of given that faded look that you see a lot of Instagrammers use. I'm not going to bore you with going through every single setting. I'm going to save that for another day. I'm actually going to go hit reset. So what you want to do is you want to go over to the presets and just scroll through them, where you can see up in the little preview window up on the left hand corner what these presets are going to do to the photo. Now I've named all of these presets after movies or scenes in movies, just to give you a bit of an idea and sort of a preview as to what look you're putting on your photo. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to click on Jungle Book. As you can see, the photo has changed completely. The greens are almost completely gone. Rob has gotten a lot darker and the shadows have been brought up a lot. But instantly you can see the photo has changed completely. It looks a lot more professional, but it still doesn't look right. Just starting out, it's way too dark. And as I said, these presets are created for different types of settings, so they're all going to look different on your photos. It's just a matter of adjusting a few things here and there to make it suit your photo. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to bring the exposure just up a little bit, bring the shadows up a little bit more, and the blacks a little bit more. Then I'm going to bring the highlights up a tiny bit more, and as you can see, that looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and move on to the next photo. So this was a photo taken of me in a swimming pool in Bali. As you can see, it's very similar to the other photo of Rob, where we've got a lot of greens, we've got the orange on me because I'm tanned, and then we've got a lot more blue and aqua colors here in the swimming pool. So again, the first thing that I'm going to do is scroll over here to the presets tab and just sort of go through each preset and figure out which look I like just from the little preview tab. The one that I like most on this is the Notorious. As you can see, it completely desaturates the greens, it brings up my tan a little bit, and it gives this sort of cool, chilled vibe to the pool. It's a very sort of cool and sharp looking preset. But again, it's very, very dark. So the first thing that I'm going to do is bring that exposure up just a little bit. Then I'm going to bring down the highlights just because I feel like my arms are a little bit too highlighted there. And bring up the shadows and the blacks likewise. So as you can see, now we're left with a pretty cool photo that's pretty much almost right where we want it. Obviously there's a lot more things that I could do to this photo, like with graduated filters, the brush tool and everything. I'm going to leave that for another tutorial. I'm just showing you guys how to use the presets that you just downloaded. Okay, so here's a completely different photo. Now I know the 3 photos that I've shown you so far are all tropical photos, but I'm going to be showing you other photos down the line to show you the different looks that you can get. But this photo in particular, I love how each preset looks in this photo. It completely gives a different look, and it shows you exactly what I'm going for with the titles of these presets, as you can imagine. This is director's cut. As you can see, it brings out the greens, it sort of drops the blues, and it gives it that like sort of eerie vibe to it as if you're in the jungle. Forrest Gump's Vietnam, you can sort of picture the scene in Forrest Gump where he's in the war in Vietnam. Jumanji brings out a lot more browns and reds. Jungle Book brings out the blues and it makes them highlighted. Let There Be Light is a really good one if you take photos that are a bit underexposed. It just brings up the shadows and blacks, and it makes everything look a lot brighter. Pain and Gain, it sort of gives it that orange teal look. Same with Pandora, just a little less blue. Pursuit of Happiness, the Notorious, again, it just completely desaturates the greens and brings out those oranges. The Wolf of Wall Street, which is personally one of my favorites, and Tomb Raider, which brings out those greens and the blues again. Okay, so here's a completely different photo of me at Venice Beach in Los Angeles. So the first thing that I noticed is the photo's sort of taken a bit weird, where I'm not quite in the center of the image and there's a lot of space down here. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click on the crop and straighten tool, click into aspect, and then I'm gonna click on 4:5 because that is the best ratio for Instagram. It's simply just drag and release to get you in the center of the photo. As you can see, this is a very bright image. So again, the first thing that I'm going to do is go over to the presets tab, and I'm going to click on this one, Pain and Gain, which says overexpose. Just to remind you that when you're using this preset, you want to overexpose the picture just a little bit. And that is pretty much perfect. I am really, really happy with how that looks right now. I would almost export that and upload it to Instagram right now if I hadn't already done so. So as you can see, there's a before and after of just adding the preset. I'm really happy with how that looks. The blues are a lot brighter. The oranges are a lot darker, and it just looks really, really nice. Here's a photo that Rob recently sent me from his trip away to Cork. Now, I'm using this photo as an example, as these presets don't only work on really high quality cameras. I know that Rob probably took this on the Olympus pen, and it's a JPEG image. Every photo that I take now is a raw image, because when you're editing a raw photo, you can get so much more details out of it than you can with a JPEG. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to start adding these presets to see which one I like. I really do like the look of Jungle Book, but I think Rob is looking a bit too oversaturated. So again, I'm going to come down here to the HSL tab, down to saturation, and I'm going to drop orange down just a little bit. And there's your before and after. Now, some of the other presets also look really good on this photo, so it's just completely down to personal preference as to what style and what look you're going for. I really like the Notorious in this one as well, when you bring up the oranges just a little bit and you bring down the highlights just a little bit more. My favorite one in this photo is the Wolf of Wall Street. That to me is just the perfect photo. I can't do any more to that. The only thing I could think of adding to this photo is maybe bringing in a little bit more glare just to make that sun pop through the bushes and the rooftop there. Right, so that is the first step done. I hope you guys are getting some information out of this, but it's all well and good me editing my own photos because that's what these presets were designed off of. I put up on my Instagram asking you guys to send me some of your photos and I'll edit those in this tutorial. Now, I wasn't quite expecting how many photos would actually come through. You guys exploded my inbox. I actually feel sorry for anybody that was trying to reach me over the past 2 days. If you were, I apologize. These guys, they're crazy. They just flooded my inbox with photos. Anyway, let me take you back into Lightroom and I'm gonna show you how I edit your photos. Okay, so the first photo that we have here is a photo from Jess, and the first thing that I noticed about this photo is the amount of colors going on. There's so many different colors. You can see in the background here all the different buildings have really nice colors. Now I'm going to be editing all these photos to my own style. Everybody has their own different editing style when it comes to their own photos and their own Instagram, and as I mentioned earlier on in this video, I like to go for sort of a washed out look when I'm posting photos on my Instagram. So Jess, I'm going to be editing this photo in a way that I would be posting to my own Instagram, but hopefully you can get some tips out of this too. So the first thing that I'm going to do is, again, go back over here to the presets and just quickly have a scan through them to see which ones I like the best. Some of these are looking a little bit too saturated because of the amount of colors that are going on, but again, that's something that's just an easy fix when you get into the actual editing yourself and adjusting some of the settings. So the preset that I'm going to start off editing this photo with is going to be the Wolf of Wall Street. I just love the look that it gives this photo. It sort of gives it a vintage feel to it. Like, again, going back to the earlier photo of Rob, it just makes it look like you're in a film or something like that. So the first thing that I notice when I add the Wolf of Wall Street is, Jess, you're looking a bit too saturated. So I'm going to go back down here to the saturation tab, bring down the oranges just a little bit, and I might even bring up the luminance of the orange just to bring a little bit more brightness into your skin tones. Now the second thing that I'm going to do is I kind of feel like the shadows are a little bit too harsh in this photo, so I'm going to go back up here to the shadows and just sort of bring them up a little bit so that you're brightening up the dark parts of the image. Now even just by doing those two very simple adjustments, you can see the difference in the before and after and how much difference these presets actually make. And again, as I said, I really like to go for that sort of washed out look. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go up here to the graduated filter, and I'm going to drag one of those down here. Now I know that's looking pretty overexposed because it's set like that already, so we're just going to go ahead, reset that to 0. So now that we've got this graduated filter down across the image, I kind of want to overexpose that sky and bring it, really brighten it up. So I'm going to bring this exposure up just a little bit, just using my eye and seeing what I feel looks good. I'm not going to be using any set values here and there. I know some people like to edit their photos with certain values, but I generally just sort of mess around with the markers until I feel they look good. So just around there at about 0.6 is what I feel like I'd go for. Now, I know you're probably looking at this thinking, Ben, you've just ruined the image, but this is when I'd go in here to the brush and down here to the erase tool. This is where I can start making the little refinements and little adjustments here to whatever I want in the image. So the first thing I'm going to do with this is I'm going to completely get rid of this brightness on these buildings, because if you can imagine, the sun will be coming in here from the top left hand corner. It's not going to be hitting this side of the building, so I'm going to completely get rid of it from this side of the buildings. The before and after, that to me is something that I would go and post on my own Instagram. I just feel like that looks very nice, and I really like the sort of blown out look on the sky where you've just got this very subtle tint of blue. So I would go ahead and I'd post that. I feel like it's a very clean image and it'd look very good on the overall feed, but again, as I said, everybody has their own personal preference when it comes to editing. You might go ahead and you might decide that you want to scrap that entire blown out sky completely, and you might actually go down and darken that. And if you want to do that, how you go and you do that is down here to the luminance tab and just completely drop down those blues. So you may want a photo like this where it's very saturated and you've got a really dark looking colorful sky, but for me personally, as I said, like to go for that sort of washed out look. The next photo that we have here is from David Strogan. Now, the first thing that you notice is it's a very overcast looking photo. It's very grayed out. So I'm actually going to use that to my advantage and make this look really epic, as if you're in something like Game of Thrones. This was taken over at the Cliffs of Moher in the west of Ireland. A really cool spot for photography. I definitely recommend you go over there and check it out if you take a trip to Ireland. So again, like every other photo, the first thing that I'm going to do is go down through the presets and just have a look at what I like. As I said, this is just personal preference. You may like a real vintage look to this. However, the preset that I'm going to choose for this photo is the Notorious. I've mentioned it a few times in this video. I really do like this preset in certain photos and it just looks really epic. So first thing you'll notice is it's completely whitened out the sky. It's really enhanced the mist and it's created this really eerie vibe, and you've still maintained those blues down in the ocean, those dark blues, and of course in Dave's hat. So the first thing that I'm going to do to this one is I actually want to bring up the clarity on those cliffs a little bit, just to make them look a little more epic. So the first thing that I'm going to do to this image is come up here to the radial filter, and I'm going to drag one of these across the entire cliff face because I really want to make them sort of stand out a lot more than they already are. So I'm just going to bring up the clarity on those, keep on bringing it up until I'm happy with how they look. Then I'm going to bring up the whites because that's just going to bring out those little extra details in the cliffs and then possibly bring down the shadows. So if you just look at a before and after of adding that radial filter, you can see how the cliffs look before and after. Like, that just brings a lot more detail into it, and it just makes the image look, I don't know, it just looks a lot more epic and as if he's standing at the edge of the world or something like that. Now the next thing, I'm actually going to do the exact same thing, but I'm going to drag one of those radial filters over David himself, and again I'm just going to bring up the clarity because I want him to stand out just a little bit more. He's a very prominent part of this photo, so I want to bring him to the front of the photo and just make him stand out a little bit more. There you go. I just like how it makes him stand out a little bit more than he was before, and that to me is a perfect photo. You may want to go and just make it a little bit brighter. Easily done just by bringing up the exposure, dropping it down a little bit, and if you want you can go and you can brighten up these blue tones in the sea, which again is personal preference. But I really like how that image looks, and it's a JPEG image. As I mentioned earlier on in the video, you don't need to shoot everything in RAW. These presets also work on JPEG images, and from all cameras they work perfectly fine. Okay, so the next photo here is from Nathan Misischi. I'm definitely butchering that name, Nathan. I apologize, but I really like this photo. I have a feeling we can make this look really epic just from looking at it, that the Wolf of Wall Street one is going to look really good once we add it. So I'm going to go ahead, stick that on there, and instantly you can see the changes it makes. Again, the before and after, that looks almost ready to post to Instagram. But I'm going to add a few more things to it. I'm going to go up here to the gradient mask as I did earlier on in one of the other photos. Drop that down right the way across the photo. And now that I have that across the entire photo, I'm actually going to bring up the clarity and the exposure too. Now I know you're looking at it and you're thinking, Ben, what are you doing? You're ruining the image. No, I know I've completely washed out Nathan here, but that's where I'm going to go up here to the brush tool again, down to the eraser, and if I click this box down here saying show selected mask overlay, it just shows you everywhere that that overlay or that mask is affecting. So that's where I can get the brush and I can just come in here and start erasing what I don't want that mask to affect. I just did it very quickly for the sake of the tutorial. If you want to go back and add some changes, you can go back and you can start brushing in that filter again by clicking down here on the A and just sort of fill back in the parts that you want the mask to affect. So I'm just going to go over here and just quickly go over my mistakes. Now that I've got that done, if you go ahead and you click this box again, you'll see that graduated mask isn't affecting him at all. So if you look at the before and after, you can see it is looking really, really nice and clean. I would almost post that to Instagram. Again, as I keep saying in this video, it's all down to personal preference. You may have a different style on your Instagram than I would be going for on mine. I'm just editing these to a way that I would go and I'd post them on my own Instagram. So I really like the look of that. You could go up here and you could bring down another graduated mask and sort of add a little bit of sunlight if you really wanted to. You do that just by bringing up the exposure and maybe the warmth if you like a warm sunshine coming down here. But I'm not going to do that. I'd be happy with this photo as is, and hopefully, Nathan, that gave you a little few tips here and there on how to edit your photos in the future. So guys, thank you so much for sending in all your photos. I'm sorry I didn't get through more of them in this video, but I don't want this video going on too long. I'm definitely going to be doing some more tutorials like this in the future, so any photos that you guys have sent me and they weren't used in this video, I'll definitely use them in future videos down the line. Don't worry about that. But thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll give you back to future Ben.
I know, that was quite a lot of information in one video. Let me know if you enjoyed this kind of video, because I've been getting a lot more into Lightroom lately and more photography, sort of away from videos. Do let me know if you learned anything from this video, or if you're able to take a bit of value from it, which I hope you did, because I'd love to make some more videos like this in the future. Also, if you guys have bought my presets already, or if you are planning to, thank you so much. I really do appreciate the support. You've no idea. This kind of thing is what allows me to continue creating content, because I'm able to focus on my own content rather than focusing on other projects outside of YouTube. If you have any questions about anything I covered in this video, or anything in general, leave a comment down below. Let's get talking. I want to get back to as many of you as possible with any questions that you have. Also, if you're using my presets, do tag me in the photo. I'd love to see what you're doing with them and how you guys are getting on with these photos, and if anything from this video actually resonated with any of you guys and you were able to take a bit of value, as I said. Now, I hope this video sort of gave you a bit of inspiration to go out there and start shooting some content, because I know personally when I created these presets, it just made me want to get out there and make more and more and more content. You can see how satisfying it is seeing a photo go from nothing to an almost perfect photo in 2 seconds. Whew. Woo! So that's it. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video or if you found it helpful, leave it a like. And if you're new around here, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to be posting a few more tutorials like this in the future. And as always, take it easy, fam. Peace. We be the infamous